Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nettle20, and you are watching Let's Play Fire Emblem Three Houses Crimson Flower on Maddening Mode. I'm joined today in the commentary booth by the amazing, the incredible, the one and only Mustachio Nut. Dash, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well now. I should come on more often. It makes you say nice things about me.
I say nice things about you all the time, I promise. Just, not while you're there, or to anyone that you can hear about.
Oh well.
So, Stash, what have you been doing in terms of, well, how much Fire Emblem have you played? Have you played Three Houses? What's up with that?
So, like you, I'm a scrub who started with Awakening. I've played this game. I've played this game when it first came out. Played through the Superior Blue Lines route, and then I did Golden Deer on Maddening, which was a fun time.
Yes, and now you get to watch at least some of Black Eagles of Maddening. So we'll be going through, I believe, Chapter 5 at this point, which is the point where we're trying to search for somebody trying to assassinate Rhea, except it's obviously all a ploy. And so we'll be working on from that, and hopefully it'll be a bunch of fun. So we'll catch you all in a moment.
Our mission this month is to patrol
and so I decided to include this because Edelgard is talking about an assassination plot and thievery that she's set up.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yes, I think so too.
And so if you correctly deduce that it's a distraction, Edelgard is sufficiently impressed with you.
Whatever's really going on. Sloppy, to say the least. And while everyone is out searching for
And then she berates her own soldiers for being sloppy.
I see. Then I won't speak of such things again.
I decided to include a couple of supports through all of this, so there won't be that many, and they'll be cut. But I like this one between Edelgard and Hubert.
It's a path that can lead to madness, can snatch away one's future, and can even take one's life. And the pool of blood at my feet is growing larger. Those stains can never be washed clean.
See, Edelgard knows that she's soft.
Yeah.
A leader must be seen as pure, above the fray. Allow me to paint the path.
I just love it because of how metal Hubert sounds in this.
I will do it gladly.
It's important to have friends that will kill for you.
Yeah, I know, right? Otherwise, are they really your friends?
There's nothing resembling romance in my life at present.
And I included Edelgard Dorothea because I think it's cute.
I'm simply too busy with other endeavors.
To contrast
Time to spare
the
for such things.
gallons of blood that are going to be shed in this game.
You're not just any old noble, after all. Anyone who has feelings for you, well, they're in for a pretty complicated life.
True. And I can't ignore the possibility that I may have to marry for political purposes. I doubt I'll ever have the opportunity for a passionate romance as long as I
Look, you just need to hit on your teacher. That's how that works.
You meet the right person and boom, you have passion to spare. Could be someone you've just met or someone you've known your whole life. There's no telling how life will go. Something could even spark between the two of us.
You and I. Now that is an entertaining thought. If such an exciting future is in store, I look forward to it.
Oh yeah? That's awfully sweet of you, Adi.
Yeah, I just like that support.
Yeah, it's important. The two types of friends: friends who will kill for you, and friends who will regularly hit on you.
Exactly, right? They're the most important kinds.
It looked like you were singing to
So I included this one because the LP that I'm following on from didn't manage to, I think, get this one with the Yuri and Dorothea. And again, I quite like it because it's a side of Yuri you don't see very much.
I have no idea who this is.
Oh, that's true. So he's a DLC character, and he's the DLC lord, effectively.
You were the talk of the capital among all the nobles. Unsurpassable?
He's famous for basically being a thief and being a bit dodge,
that unsurpassable songstress in a place like this.
whilst also being an adopted noble, I think, which is a bit odd.
I couldn't convince you to sing tenor yourself, hmm? You're talented enough for it.
What are you getting at? Is this an
I played the wheels off this game when it came out, and then
Yeah.
it's all gone from my head now.
Would-be divas are a dime a dozen, but men?
Yeah, I quit for about a year after I played my second run through, and then I came back to it in a big way.
Very talented indeed. I think you have what it takes. If you're interested, I can...
Sorry, but no. No way in hell am I ever doing that.
Goodness, you could have stopped at no.
I can't think of anything more wretched than getting up on a stage to sing in front of a bunch of people.
You didn't seem to mind singing for those...
As a YouTuber, I feel personally attacked by Yuri. Getting upset at being in front of a bunch of people saying random things or singing.
On the same stage as you have, with all of those stuffy nobles staring at me. Truthfully, I'm not brave enough for it.
Rein it in, Yurikins. It's the opera, not the battlefield. This isn't a life-or-death situation.
Fair enough. Sometimes I forget what's a real threat and what isn't. But I
He has quite a lot of dramatic hand gestures for someone who's not interested in the stage.
He does. I think he would very much enjoy being on the stage with Yuri.
How can someone that good at singing hate it so much?
I mean, stage fright, maybe? I don't think so, though.
Lysithea, are you alright?
Ah, yes, and there's one other support I think I included, which was Lysithea and Edelgard.
I'm fine. Real.
You were cleaning the
Lysithea is always a good time.
The other student who was I figured I could at least dust the
so many books.
I don't know why I'm skipping through it as much as I am. I blame myself for this.
stacks of them to and fro. They're so heavy.
Well, maybe you should think things through a little more next time. Surely you can tell how much physical strength the job is going to require before you begin.
I can do without the condescension, thanks. After all,
But yeah, so Lysithea is a relatively important part of the Black Eagles route, because you can actually recruit it for free
Take care of yourself.
in the time skip as well.
considering what?
Nothing. Never mind.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Always
How about you?
generally well disposed towards her, but I think that's just because of how hard she carried me through
I want to finish what I've started.
Gondir.
but yeah, you've got a hint there of Edelgard being like especially considering,
Don't make me repeat.
because I'm pretty sure that Edelgard already knows that Lysithea has 2 crests,
As long as you'll finish all this.
uh,
I will. Get some
and a
rest.
massively shortened lifespan as a
Yes,
result.
yes. Thank you.
If what I heard about Lysithea is true, I just don't know how much of it I should believe.
And I think this is the earliest you get a hint about Lysithea's stuff as well, apart from maybe Byleth. Actually, no, not even Byleth Sea support.
Church dastards have spotted us. Buy me some time while I open the seal on the casket.
But yes, we get to the meat and potatoes of what's going on here.
Oh, yes.
Our enemy appears to be after the tomb of Saint.
So I'm going to spoil something right now.
Are they attempting
I don't
Uh-huh.
try and kill the Death Knight on this.
I was going to ask.
defeat them before they achieve their aim?
So you can see Lysithea there is an adjutant. She hasn't recruited
Their
yet.
contraptions of
So I can't get Dark Smikes on her. And because of something that happens later in the level, I don't have enough time to set up what I want to be able to deal with him. It's much easier on New Game Plus to get to him because you have battalions that help a lot, but here it's very, very difficult.
I seem to remember this being one of the longer missions, at least for my attempt. I think just because there was so much wandering back and forth through a fairly open plan level.
Yeah, so
To, keep things under control.
there's a time limit on this. So from having the previous episodes, most people will know that I take a long time on missions, right? So like mission 2 was something like 20, not 20, it was like 40 turns or something for me, because I just abused Dorothea's regeneration to a ridiculous extent. And with this level, you don't have that latitude because of the timer. And so I play quite slowly moving up the field, and yeah, that creates a lot of time pressure on me as a result. Which you'll see come into play not soon, but in a while.
Acknowledge my contribution.
So this is Constance, who's another DLC character. She's basically Lysithea, except with slightly worse speed, but a better spell list, so she's crazy good, basically.
That does sound good.
Yeah, she's very, very good. And so yeah, the initial part of this map is just, you clean up the middle, and then you're going to separate out into two groups, one to go up the left, one to go up the right.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
In theory, I think on Maddening you can actually just go up one way, and what will happen eventually is that the guys on the right will activate and run across to you anyway. So there is potentially a time saver there that I didn't think about until I was talking to you right now. And maybe I should have thought of that before I recorded, so I could have pursued it in a decent way.
Sure thing.
And so yeah, this is mainly just me setting up. I kept most of this in because, like, again, the initial setup is usually one of the hairier parts of a mission. So what I want that guy to do is attack into Byleth, who's very, very fast, and who won't take much damage, and then, yeah, everything should be okay.
That's my cue.
You'll also see me in this mission standing Lysithea next to Byleth as much as I can, because she's an adjutant and I'm trying to recruit her, so I want her to get as much support with Byleth as I can without stealing any experience.
And scatter these fools.
I don't take commands or waste my time on weaklings.
Death Knight just insulting his boss.
Rite is a powerful enemy. Let's do all we can to avoid him.
Must get kind of boring for him. He's just kind of chilling out in the middle of the map,
He's like,
watching all of this.
yeah, he's like, I don't want to fight, I'm gonna screw him. So yeah, I cut out here because that cleanup's pretty easy, and I'm just like, well, let's set up for the next bit here.
Yeah, these corners, just making sure that you're kind of limited by in what you can deploy as you're going around this edge, and you're trying to make sure that the enemies don't all murder one particular guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also want to create a situation where you can bring as many units to bear on the enemies once they've gone in on you. Which isn't massively awkward, but it is, a thing that you have to think about.
Remember, there's some terrain here. I can't remember exactly what the.
So I believe on the right-hand side, you have... on the right-hand side at the bottom, you've got defensive terrain against physical attacks. And on the left-hand side here, you've got defensive terrain against magical attacks, so stuff that increases your res. I'm surprised I went in here, actually. I wouldn't have thought I had enough follow-up to deal with what's going to attack, but clearly I did. So there you go. I have Bernadetta unleveled because I don't plan on ever using her, and Lindhart is there as a heal bot and nothing else. Not because Bernadetta's bad, mind you, but because I have recruits I want, who will be fun for other reasons than being good.
Someone's got to get cut.
Exactly, right.
There's only so much murder to go around, and you've got to.
When you have to power game your team for maddening, yes. In fairness, you don't... Once you know a bit about the game, you don't have to power game too hard for maddening. It's helpful, but...
The reinforcements haven't arrived? If they approach...
And obviously here you get an actual warning about reinforcements showing up, which is great of them.
Yeah, it's very polite.
Yeah, and I'd love if they did that more often. So at this point, I know the reinforcements are coming, but I don't know the turn on which they show up. Because I didn't bother looking at the wiki to find out before I did this mission. In some ways, that's because, like, it feels a little bit more honest to not know, but in other ways, if you're doing this for the first time on Maddening, then just look it up. It's fine. It will probably save you at least a couple Divine Pulses. Although the reason that I'm much more casual about this is Divine Pulse is a thing. You just rewind time.
Oh yes, I think I remember trying to convince these guys to hang out on whichever side is the side with the terrain with
Yeah.
the anti-magic.
Yeah, yeah. So my choice here is I just want to cut them down as quickly as I physically can, and get back to actually fighting. But this is what delays you a lot, actually, because...
Yeah, running back and forth.
Yeah. You don't want a situation where you're running up the field and 3 of them go down one side because the person with the lowest res is down there. Like, I don't... Even though I'm not using Bernadetta, I have a real concern. I don't want her to die. So I have a real concern that they're just going to go for it. Because he's, what, level 1 or level 2? You'll notice, by the way, that Edelgard is holding an axe, but can still counter. The most ridiculous thing from the DLC that you get is once you beat it, you can start even a new game with an item called the Chalice of Beginnings, which gives your unit distant counter.
Aha.
Yeah.
That does seem good.
It is very, very good. Like, so this run has always been like a kind of no-holds-barred run in terms of what I use. If it's in the game and it's legitimate in new game, then you can use it and it's fine.
Yeah, getting to just hammer on those casters.
I was actually quite surprised. I didn't think that caster would double Byleth, but apparently he's just blazing fast. Yes, I don't think I was expecting those enemies to move south the way that they did. So again, I'm in kind of an awkward position here, where Bernadetta here is sandwiched between people that can kill her and people that can kill her. So technically, I think I made a mistake there. I didn't have to move Yuri where I did. If I'd kept him on the square he was on, because of the traffic jam caused by 2 units trying to get to him, he would only take 1 attack anyway, and he'd be slightly further up the map, which would be better. Didn't think about that until I just saw that now.
Do you think doing this kind of style of LP has improved your tactical gameplay? Getting to go back and watch your replays, as it were?
I think it probably does help.
You should be honored.
Not specifically on a tactical level, as in like move by move, it helps. But it does help me think about strategies I otherwise wouldn't have thought about before. And I think that's probably going to become more apparent as the game goes on and the maps become more complex, because there's more complexity and more strategic depth to go through there. But yeah, it's certainly something to consider. I would quite like a replay function of some sort in Fire Emblem, honestly.
Yeah, especially some of because some of them can feel like such slogs, and it's kind of cool to go back afterwards and not have to worry about all the moments of decision making where you were just agonizing for minutes at a time, and then see it all smooth through, and you roll over all the enemies and feel good about yourself.
Yeah, that would be really interesting, actually. So, I take a long time. One of the things I do is I do take just quite a while to strategically think about, what's going to happen here and why, and, check all my units to see if they can move properly. So it means every turn, I cut out, 5 or 6 minutes between every turn, every time you see a cut happen. And so, yeah, it's good to see it in this format where I kind of roll through and explain my thought process, but I think a lot of people would feel it more rewarding if they get to do that as well. And once again, Curved Shot proves why it is incredibly valuable in this game. And I'm like, oh, do I want to Deadeye him? Nah.
69%, though.
Oh, I know, right?
Not that, obviously, it's actually 69%, I seem to recall. The slightly...
Yeah, so it...
This is the system where it's like where when it's above, is it where it's above 50? It's sort of as soon as it hits above 50, it goes the sort of
Out of my way.
It's a very strange
skews
system.
towards success, and then
Yeah, I think
once you're
so.
below 50, you skew towards failure in a way that's not exactly related to the numbers.
Yeah, I think so. So a lot of 90% success. Like, I think you actively succeed more on 90% than you should in this game. But obviously, I think you've got Divine Pulse here. So the seeded RNG behind all of that. And so what I believe happens is the game just seeds dice rolls or something of the sort. And so the dice rolls are always in the same order after you Divine Pulse back, right? And so you can kind of manipulate that as well if you want to, which will become somewhat relevant later.
So you play so many. Once you play so many sort of tactical games with so many similar-looking systems, it all goes forms together in your head.
Yeah,
Trying to remember, it's like, is this the game where I can like fiddle with the seed by doing things in different order, or do I have to do a certain type of maneuver, and what do the numbers do they mean? Are they actually percentages, or are they lying?
I remember XCOM 2 specifically takes pity on players if they're doing really, really badly. And that's that kind of... The system is honest until the point that it's not. Which I enjoyed, because it stopped me from dying on the first mission. But yeah, you can see actually here I'm on turn 9. So a thing that I think we talked over it, but what happened is units on the right-hand side decided that they want to kill Bernadetta. So instead of moving into my units the way I thought they would, they just started crossing the map instead. And that unexpected movement cost me about 3 or 4 turns, I would say, of just rejigging all my units to be like, oh god, they're coming across. And so, under that kind of time pressure, I'm like, I don't think I want to fight the Death Knight at this point.
You were wide open.
I think the time pressure really makes this a pretty good level. I think it's a pretty interesting one, especially for sort of this point in the game. The splitting of your forces and the time pressure, and the always leads to surprising situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things I noticed while I was kind of doing this LP and considering what was going on... Oh, this is me being dumb. I accidentally ended my turn. So Constant Sky...
classic.
Yes. There is a reason I do not play Fire Emblem, like classic Fire Emblem, because the number of times that this would happen and I would lose all my progress is high.
Light Psycho 2.
I will prevail.
Yeah, that's just that was one of my stupid mistakes. Fortunately, Divine Pulse is all okay, but still. So sorry, where I was
As you wish.
was the first 2 missions, so the Mock Battle and then the Bandit Canyon, are both very, very slow missions, really. They're ones where you kind of have to
Sure thing.
turtle against very, very powerful enemies and then start slowly creeping forwards. And then, you know, they contrast that with the Fog of War mission that comes up, where you're forced to move forward because Catherine and her allies are also moving forward at the same time, and you don't want them to outpace you. And then this mission, which is on a time limit as well.
No obstacle will...
So I think that strikes actually quite a good balance of what the game is looking for you to do.
Battle.
That being said, if I were pacing it, I'd probably have paced a faster mission as one of the earlier ones, if I could. Because I think a big complaint that people have about Maddening is how grindy the mock battle feels.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts a lot of people off, and I think that A lot of people might really enjoy this mode. Were it not for that, and were it not for that initial impression. So I'm busy here considering how the hell I kill this guy.
Yeah.
He's on a defense tile. It's more like, where do I want my experience distributed, all that kind of stuff, which is the more important stuff at the moment. Of course, Dorothea decides that she's just going to crit on 10% for some reason. So good work. With a bow. Yeah,
You have to
because...
imagine he can't be feeling great, right? He's sort of watching this army line up. They're all raring to go. They're all competing to see who's going to get to murder him.
Yeah, he can't feel great about himself at the moment. So one of the big concerns right now is that most of my characters are around like level 9 or level 10, and if I get them to level 10, they can obviously level up across the next calendar. The next month, not next calendar, that makes no sense.
Use. A seal is broken. You can't. A sword.
That is an incredibly impressive disarming technique. I love how Violet's just like, sod this.
Yeah.
I've got a real sword now.
I mean, the disposable nature of Fire Emblem swords is a known quantity at this point.
That's true. Although on Maddening, I take time to forge and repair mine as much as I can to save on costs. Father's just like, I'm not even questioning this. This is a win. I have a cool sword now.
That sword is... I see. What a pleasant surprise.
He got away. That sword. Why is it...
It's a magic sword that no one can speak about in a full sentence.
Seems to be shimmering, almost as though...
Is the intruder here?
Speaking of cool swords,
Looks like you
Oh,
have some
Thunderbrand
control.
rules.
You.
It's such a good sword. I'm so sad you don't get it on this route.
It is unnecessary to go on, followers of the Western Church.
What? We have nothing to do with the Western Church.
You have already been identified. Please spare us your second-rate theater.
Dishonoring a holy ceremony is worthy of death for a member of the Church. You are well past the hope of redemption. If you have any grace remaining, you will willingly offer your life as atonement for this crime.
No, this isn't what we
You
were
will
told
be
before.
willingly
We've
executed.
been deceived.
It's no
aha, the mercy of the church.
Yes.
Whatever your excuse,
This isn't suspicious at all. I promise.
may your souls find peace as they return to the goddess.
Wait, please. The goddess would never forgive you for our execution.
Monster. We know you've already slaughtered many of our fellow brethren like this.
This concludes the investigation. Please remove these poor lost souls from my sight.
Edelgard disapproves. As she does with all things rare, to be fair. And that concludes that chapter, basically. The Western Church is taken away to be disposed of, despite the fact they deny that they were even those guys to begin with. So there you go. That is Crimson Flower Chapter 5. Stash, did you have a good time watching along?
I had a good time.
Amazing. So with that, I think we will leave you there, and we will catch you all in the very next episode.